Okay, picture this. A professional sports team claws its way to the absolute top. I mean, they win the championship, they get the trophy, their name is in the history books forever. And then, poof, they just vanish. I'm not talking about moving to a new city or changing their name. I mean, they just cease to exist. Well, that's not a hypothetical. It's the real, strange story of the original Baltimore Bullets. This is one of those truly wild pieces of sports history, right? Because the last time an NBA franchise actually folded, just went completely belly up. It wasn't some struggling expansion team. No, the last team to fold was a former champion, a team that had already won it all. And that just raises one massive, baffling question, right? How on earth does a championship team just disappear? How do you go from the absolute peak of your sport to nothing in just a handful of years? Well, to get to the bottom of this, we've got to go back in time. Back to before the NBA was even, the NBA. All right, Section 1, forged in a new league, the Bullets' dominant origins. To really understand what happened, we have to start right at the beginning. And the story of the Bullets actually starts back in 1944, not in the NBA, but in one of the leagues that came before it. So they kicked things off in what was called the American Basketball League, or ABL. And listen, they weren't just some run-of-the-mill team. They were a powerhouse from day one. I mean, they made it to the ABL finals in all 3 seasons they were in the league, and they even won the whole thing back in 1946. And just to give you an idea of how dominant they were, look at this. In their last season in the ABL, their record was an insane 31-3. That's a .912 winning percentage. They weren't just good, they were basically unbeatable in that league. So they were so good, they basically outgrew the ABL. Their success was undeniable. So in 1947, they jumped ship to the bigger, more prestigious league at the time, the Basketball Association of America, the BAA. And this is key. Just 2 years after that, the BAA merged with another league to officially become the NBA we all know today. So the Bullets were there right at the very beginning of it all. Okay, Section 2, the unlikely champions, a sudden peak. All of this early success, right? It was all leading up to something huge. Their very first season in this new, much tougher league, well, it brought a moment that honestly should have secured their future for decades. Get this, in their very first year in the BAA, the Baltimore Bullets won the whole thing, the 1948 championship. They were the new kids on the block, and they didn't just move in, they took over the entire neighborhood. It's incredible. And this was no fluke, let me tell you. They had to really fight for it. They finished second in their division, had to win a tiebreaker game just to get into the playoffs, and then they had to battle through rounds against the Knicks and the Stags before finally beating the Philadelphia Warriors in the finals. This was a tough, hard-earned championship. And a huge part of that championship team was this guy, Buddy Jeanette. A future Hall of Famer, sure. But here's the crazy part. He was their player coach. Think about that. He was on the court, playing while also coaching the team. He literally led them to a title from inside the game. All right, Section 3, a long losing battle. The decline begins. So you've got a championship, you've got a Hall of Fame leader. Everything's looking up, right? Well, this is where the story takes a really sharp, bizarre turn. After this incredible, incredible high point came a long, painful fall. And the fall was just about as fast as the rise. Just look at these numbers. After that championship season in 48, where they had a .583 winning percentage, they never had another winning season again. The next year, they're under .500. Then it drops to .368. By 53, it's down to .229. It's just a steady, brutal decline. The team was getting older, money was getting tight, and they just fell into this spiral they could never pull out of. And here's a really weird, kind of ironic twist. Even while the whole team was basically circling the drain, they still had these flashes of brilliance. In 1954, in their last full season, one of their players, Ray Felix, actually won the NBA Rookie of the Year award. Can you believe that? They had the best rookie in the entire league on a team that barely won a fifth of its games. So now, let's get to it. Section 4, the final whistle. A team erased. This combination of just losing constantly and, running out of money, it was a death sentence back in the early, fragile days of the NBA. And it all led to an ending that is, frankly, completely unthinkable in sports today.
On November 27, 1954, just a month into the new season, that was it. The owners just threw in the towel. They couldn't make ends meet. The Baltimore Bullets, a team that had been champions just 6 years earlier, were officially gone, folded.
Yeah, they only made it 14 games into that final season with a record of 3-11. That's a .214 winning percentage. But here is the absolute wildest part of this whole story. After they folded, the NBA erased them from the records for that season. They just scrubbed their games, their stats, everything. It's like a championship team never even existed that year.
Now, there is one super important thing we have to clear up because it can get confusing. You probably know that the Washington Wizards used to be called the Bullets, right? Well, that is a completely different team. There is absolutely zero connection between the Wizards franchise and this original Baltimore Bullets team that folded. The team that became the Wizards actually started as the Chicago Packers in 1961, and they didn't move to Baltimore until 1963, nearly a decade after these original Bullets were already gone.
And all of this leaves us with one last big question. I mean, the story of the Bullets feels like a relic from a totally different, wilder time in sports. It really makes you wonder, right? In today's world, with billion-dollar valuations and massive TV deals, could an NBA team ever just disappear again? Or is the strange, sad story of the Baltimore Bullets destined to be the last of its kind forever?